ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ Namaste, all of you. Welcome back to our continuing study of this great text, Vivekachudamani, authored by the great Adi Shankaracharya and taught to us by our revered and compassionate Guru Swami Paramarthananda. We are presently studying verse 6 of this great text. Let me read the text and pick up the thread from where we left off in the last capsule. In verse 6, Shankaracharya says, Vadantu shastrani yajantu devan kurvantu karmani bhajantu devataha atmaikya bodhena vinapi muktihi na siddhyati brahma shatantarepi. Interesting verse. As we saw in the last capsule, the sixth verse talks about the importance of jnanam, self-knowledge, and vicharaha, which is self-inquiry. Manushya Janma Mahima, the greatness of human birth. Manushya Janma Prashasti, glorification of human birth. Shankara completed up to verse 5. From this verse until the 13th verse, Shankara is talking about the importance of jnanam and inquiry. Jnana and vichara. And how does he emphasize this? We looked at this during his times itself. Shankaracharya faced a world which was filled with many misconceptions that there are many paths to moksha. Like all roads lead to Rome, they don't. We've seen all this in the last capsule. Shankara clarifies that there are no multiple paths to moksha, there is only one path. And this is not a path in the literal sense. There is no physical travel involved. There is no physical distance between the spiritual seeker and moksha, nor is there a time-wise distance between the seeker and the sought, because Atma, which is our higher nature, our immaculate nature, is all pervading and is available here and now and is already liberated. Its swarupa is moksha. The spiritual journey is in discovering this fact, already existing fact about ourselves. That's why we are all journeying. This must be gotten clearly. So there are no multiple paths, there is only one path. The distance, Shankaracharya says, is caused by self ignorance. Ignorance about this self causes a seeming distance. It looks as if we are far away from ourselves. So, then the question arises, what about many paths talked about in the scriptures? When many paths are mentioned, they are meant to achieve jnana yogyata or sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. We must become sadhana chatushtaya sampannas. We must become adhikaris to enter the portals of jnanam, which will help us discover our immaculate selves. That is why there are multiple paths. This clarity of understanding must be rooted deeply in our intellects. To attain jnana yogyata, fitness for spiritual knowledge, and then become fit receptacles for jnanam, the all important, beautiful jnanam about ourselves, and discover. Swamiji says, dissing the cover that seemingly covers our intellects about our immaculate self. So, the many paths are meant for achieving jnana yogyata. These practices serve as a means to purify and qualify the mind for deeper spiritual inquiry. We were looking into this portion in the last capsule where we left off. In the fourth chapter of the Gita, Krishna talks about various sadhanas. He talks about 12 different sadhanas. Swamiji takes up one of those verses between the 25th and 34th shlokas of chapter 4. One of the shlokas, in one of the shlokas, Krishna mentions a few sadhanas. He talks about in the 28th shloka, he says, Dravya yajñas tapo yajñaha yoga yajñas tatha pare swadhyaya jnana yajñascha yataya samshita vrataha. And then he goes on, apane jukhvati pranam prane panam tatha pare pranapana gati rudhva pranayama parayanaha. Krishna says even pranayama is a sadhana. Let me quickly list out the 12 different sadhanas that Krishna mentions in the shlokas. The first yajna, he calls them all yajnas. The first yajna is jnana yajna, which is jnanam about paravidya, about brahmatma aikyam, brahma atma aikyam. That is the first yajna he talked about. Then he talks about deva yajna. Then the third yajna he talks about is vishaya bhoga yajna. The fourth is dhamma yajna, meaning sensory control. Then shama yajna, which is mind control. Then dravya yajna, various kinds of offerings like money, in terms of charity, money, time, um, clothes. Um, well, even charity could include um, uh, activities in the temple, for example, cleaning the temple. These are also contributors to antahkarana shuddhi, dravya yajna, then tapo yajna, various austerities that are taken up to willfully deny ourselves certain basic comforts like upavasas, etc. Then yoga yajna, meaning the Ashtanga yoga, a beautifully developed eight-stepped path for to integrate the personality, the various layers of our personality. Then Krishna talked about Swadhyaya Yajna, meaning to begin with recitation of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, for example, or even the Upanishads, the Prakarana Granthas like Atma Bodha, even Tattva Bodha, to get into the practice of properly pronouncing the aksharas, the Sanskrit aksharas. It sets up a certain discipline. And then later, Krishna talks about Jnana Yajna again. This time, Krishna means the study of Aparavidya, everything else other than Paravidya, other than Brahmatma Aikya Vidya. All Vyavaharika knowledge, all knowledge about Anatma. Mundaka Upanishad clearly says, differentiates the two Vidyas, Paravidya and Aparavidya. Then Krishna talked about pranayama yajna, the discipline of pranayama, beautiful discipline to again bring our personalities into sharp focus. Swami Paramarthananda very often points to the five-layered personality that is the framework we are built with. How beautifully the pranamaya kosha is sandwiched between the annamaya kosha and the manomaya kosha. So practicing pranayama can help regulate both the annamaya kosha and the manomaya kosha. Breath control does have a beautiful calming effect on the mind. Breath control also helps to bring the uh, active body to rest in a particular place, to practice pranayama. So, Rajoguna can slowly and steadily be transformed into Sattva Guna, thus bringing our personalities into sharp focus. Then Krishna talked about Ahara Niyama. All this between the 25th and the um, 30th slokas. These are the 12 yajnas mentioned by Krishna. So, all these sadhanas, all these yajnas are meant for jnana yogyata. The many paths, it's not a many pathed approach to jnanam. One needs to get jnana yogyata, and then Krishna goes on to say in the 33rd shloka, he says, of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter, he says, Shreyan dravyamayat yajnat jnana yajnah parantapa sarvam karmakhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. Jnanam brings about a certain sense of completeness to all these yajnas. Without sadhanas, jnanam is impossible. Without jnanam, without jnana yoga, karma yoga is incomplete. Swamiji's favorite statement. Without karma yoga, jnana yoga is impossible. Without jnana yoga, karma yoga is incomplete. So each has its place in the Vedic scheme. We must get this clearly understood. So, Shankaracharya emphasizes that while there are various paths for purification and preparation, the path to moksha, liberation, is singular. This he makes it very clear. Focusing on the direct realization of one's true nature, the discovery of one's true nature, rather than multiple divergent paths. Like he mentions in the Atma Bodha, a beautiful verse, the second verse of Atma Bodha says this: Bodhonya sadhanebhyo hi sakshan mokshaika sadhanam pakasya vanhivat jnanam vina moksho na siddhyati. Then in the next verse he says, Avirodhitaya karma na vidyam vinivartayet vidya vidyam nihantyeva tejastimira sankhavati. Karma is not opposed to ajnanam. Karma is born of ajnanam. It can never destroy, never sublate, or never can destroy ignorance. Vidya avidyam nihanti eva. Vidya avidya nihanti eva. Vidya avidya eva nihanti. Vidya is the only destroyer of ignorance. Just like physics knowledge can destroy physics ignorance, Likewise, Atma Jnanam alone can destroy Atma Ajnanam. This Shankaracharya makes very clear. Shankaracharya points out that one can engage in various spiritual practices like Kriya Yoga, Japa, Puja, and scriptural recitation, but without the study of Vedanta and the pursuit of Jnanam, these practices alone will not lead to liberation. These practices alone, without jnanam, cannot help you discover your higher, immaculate nature. Let us pick up the thread of this interesting discussion in the upcoming capsules and take our study forward. Hari Om.